go, here we go, we are live. Finally, we're streaming again. I actually have time to stream. Amazing. This should be revolutionary. I actually have time to stream. There we go. Now I'm just gonna post this on the tweets. Just post this on the tweets. Of course, I'll do all the chat. PGR. I am definitely advertising myself as a PGR streamer very heavily. Alright. Okay, I did change that back. Streams. And yes, the stream is working, which is excellent to see. That's what I hope. And there's only one more stuff I need to post. Alright. I do say alright a lot. I've been doing that for years. Years. Now, we're gonna continue the story of where we left off to. I have been really behind the story. I was supposed to do this all back in January, but now it's near the end of February. And here we go. City 43, Conservation Area, Basement, 3 AM. Nearly 5 hours have passed since the Live and the others set out. All refugees still able to move freely have been evacuated. They have walked for 5 hours, but they still have not managed to evacuate the conservation area in City 43 due to the overall speed of the crowd. The horde of hetero creatures headed this way is estimated to enter the conservation area according to their scheduled arrival in 3 hours. There are only a few dozen people left in the enclosed basement. All the constructs sanctioned in the conservation area are on the surface, leaving the refugees anxiously waiting for news from Grey Raven. Vanessa sits alone in the dark room, monitoring the trajectory of the hetero creatures on a large number of hollow screens, and sending intel into Babylonia with no response. Following that, she recalculates the tactical deployment of constructs in the conservation area and the best evacuation route for Grey Raven based on the enemy's new trajectory. After completing her hard work, she stands up from the screens and walks up to the sick bed nearby. Ha, Chief. She smiles mockingly and then sits beside the bed. If you knew your recklessness would have this outcome, would you still have done what you did? Vanessa gently strokes your ear as waiting for an answer. Let me guess, you'd say, I'll sacrifice everything to protect my comrades, huh? She gives herself a smile of self-mockery, then slowly moves her fingers down to your ear and puts her hand firmly on your throat. I'm sure you'll be disgusted right now, seeing yourself like this. So weak and fragile, you can't even push my hand away. Like a candle in the wind, all for just a couple of puppets. What do you think the instructor who praised you so highly would say now, seeing you like this? She leans down and whispers softly into your ear. Her frank aroma seems at odds with the musty smell of the basement. She's got perfume? Damn, she is organized everything. You definitely take back what he said, Lord. A fool like you can't even protect yourself. Vanessa quietly looks at your closed eyes. Your malnourished face, after having battled illness for so long, looks even more lifeless under the dim lights. Disgusting. Even if you were awake, the people you've only seen your face plastered on the screens after the lanterns incident wouldn't even recognize you. Even though her mockery falls on their fears, she still continues her senseless behavior. Regardless, I wasn't wrong. Before this disaster happened, I saw your arrival. I must be defeated. Futile illusion. But now, what a joke. You know, Zod, I could kill you right now. Her grip on your throat suddenly tightens, then relaxes. She smiles and covers your pallid skin with a warm palm. But what's the point? Before you went into a coma, I looked at your selfless naivety with contempt. I figured you'd quickly lose in battle and realize that your starry-eyed view of the world didn't conform to reality. This wasn't exactly quick, but maybe now you see the world for what it really is. Your neck remains ice cold despite her warm palm. She lifts a finger and checks your pulse. Such a simple battle nearly cost your life, Chief. What exactly distracted you? Or did I waste my time focusing on you so much? You don't deserve to be Chief, let alone a role model and a goal for others. She slowly gets up and looks at the hollow screen and fold-up mirror next to it. The Hetero creatures will be here in 3 hours. If Grey Raven isn't back then, you're a goner. Babita. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Alright, still works. Alright. It's shown if the stream quality is doing well. Alright. Seems to be working. She combs her hair in the reflection of the mirror again, but the look in her eyes doesn't match the delicate gesture. Sorry about that. I know this isn't exactly what I commanded you to. FOS college teaches us to always fight the enemy and protect as many people as we can. The only murmur echoes throughout the empty room as before, no one responds. But the battlefield isn't so merciful. Not everyone can be saved, no matter who you are, Chief. As long as people die, their reputation, rights, all those ridiculous bonds are just dust in the wind. You get nothing, and the people you protect will soon forget you. Vanessa walks to the simple square table full of hollow screens, but leaves a mote of attention to you laying behind her. She turns around once more and looks at the unchanged bed. Bod, you stupid and naive piece of trash. You're only respected by so many people because they're lost in their own ideals. Now you have no one to count on. Let me tell you how to maximize the value of survivors. 4:30 AM. An hour and a half before the hetero creatures enter the conservation area, Commandant Vanessa and the 4 constructs stationed in the conservation area all have gone on to the surface to prepare for combat. In the enclosed basement, Commander's fought 41 soldiers with minor wounds and mobility issues, and 4 critically wounded patients. Nagayuki, Kanata, Lindsay, and Kali still remain. Aside from them, there's another surprising refugee, the kid. What are you looking at? Never seen anyone fall on stairs before? No, it's not that. The boy should have evacuated the first group, but he sneaked into the warehouse on the 3rd floor underground and accidentally slipped onto the stairs, hitting his and spraining his ankle. He had been unconscious for over an hour, completely out of sight despite being woken up by matches. He had missed the opportunity to leave the first group of refugees. What's your dog doing in the warehouse at a time like this? Matches probably just smelled someone in here. What about you? What were you doing here? I was just checking to see if that mutt had gone into the warehouse. Even that meant not making out with the others on time? I was just gonna take a peek. He rubs the back of his head and his sprained ankle. Don't believe me, do you? Why are you being so defensive? Because you're a mutt, ate all my cans. My friend gave me those before he died. He risked everything to get his hands on those, but you dumb mutt ate them. Being reminded of the past, the boy chokes back tears. I already told you, matches didn't do anything. Who cares what you say? I only believe what I saw. I wouldn't have gone in there if that stupid conservation's safe. They said we should all be in the same boat, but they took all my cans and allowed someone like you to get in. I thought I could use those cans to find my big bro. The boy falls into an empty sick bed and starts to cry. You have a big brother? Yeah, he's the best big bro in the whole entire world. The boy sobs and takes out a shabby journal from his jacket pocket. Half the pages have fallen out and the rest are barely clinging on the layers of tape. He tells me stories every day and draw me whatever I wanted. He generally rubs a few running pages which are covered with an assortment of vivid drawings. Roasted chicken, new clothes, an entire house, a bed, a soccer ball, a garden, even a kind-looking woman. Below the pictures there's the same phrase repeated over and over. Can you read? A bit. How about you? That's nice. My mum taught us a bit before she died, but bro and I forgot. She tries to stop crying herself and then points to the writing beside the kind woman. We'll need to check something. Bro, then we can write our wishes in it, and Mummy will make our wishes come true up in heaven. Look, Mum told us just to write this beside each picture, and Mum will hear our wishes. Zen looks to where the boy is pointing but discovers that it isn't some magical spell. Sorry. What? Sorry I brought you into this world. What did you say? Stanley opens his mouth to explain the meaning of the dense handwriting, but lowers his head slightly as if noticing something. Nothing. I just zoned out there for a second is all. I've never shown this to anyone, and you just get distracted? Sorry, anyway, why are you showing me this? Because you saved me? He awkwardly covers his face with a blanket and curls up. Forget it. What's the point of telling someone about my family? Anyway, your dog only found me because he was trying to steal food. Matches didn't. Shut up. I know already. I've been watching you for the past few days. I know it now. Perhaps he was beginning to sense the truth, at least that's how Stanley interprets his response. He knows he wrongly accused Dylan but can't admit his mistake and doesn't apologize. Go to sleep. Anxiously rolling over in the bed, he winces in pain from the injuries on his head and ankle. Alright. Stanley stops speaking. He looks up into the basement and imagines what was happening outside the window. But right as he wants to lie down on an empty bed and get some rest, he hears a heart-rending cry from the other side of the basement. No! Don't go, Lindsay! In a sad cry, another person running in the tiny light falls into the cold embrace of eternal night. How much longer until daybreak? Life and death. The endless cycle. 5:38 AM. Driving the two rescue vehicles, Grey Raven races back to the conservation area before the barrage of hetero creatures arrive. Familiar with the way back and no longer carrying any wound, they managed to make the trip in just 3 hours. We're back. Returning to the enclosed basement, Grey Raven and Sandra arrived to look at the panicked among the refugees. Intermittent sobbing can be heard throughout the basement. The looming sadness is like smoke from a fire, making everyone's eyes and noses sting. Liv quickly walks into the room to the compartment to see a lifeless body lying in the blood-stained sickbed. Jin is lying by her side, weeping. Liv. She lightly shakes her hand and quietly looks over what was now apparent. Lindsay has passed away. Jin struggles to lift her head and looks at Liv lifelessly. The hetero creatures are almost here. We need to leave. She shakes her hand and tightly grips Lindsay's ice-cold wrist. I still don't know why Lindsay saved me. Seeing her act like this. Was there even a moment that I hated you? If we could have all left at the same time, we would have been spared from the pain, the agony. How having to say goodbye like this? Someone once asked Liv, is it really meaningful to treat a patient who's bound to die? Before death's peaceful embrace, prolonging the patient's life is actually just prolonging their pain. For she saw the struggle under Lindsay's eyes, her desire for life, the words she cannot say. So Liv chose this cruelty. Did she regain consciousness at all? Yeah, just before she died. But she said a few words. What did she say? I'm happy you're okay. My life didn't go to waste. But don't come looking for me just yet. I asked her why she saved me. She said, because I'm a scaredy cat. What's that got to do with it? What does that mean? Lindsay! The tears fall in a continuous stream like raindrops on the floor. Scaredy cat. If there's anything in the world that can arouse humanity's strongest fear, it's death. Yet she calls herself a scaredy cat and is willing to face death alone to protect another person. I didn't know Lindsay too well, but I think people are willing to give up their lives to save another person must value the lives of others more than theirs. She must be deeply afraid of your death, and she struggled to her last breath just to tell you that. Really? But I feel the same about you, Lindsay. As soaked by the downpour of sorrow, Jin sobbed in front of Liv's chest. So, You need to keep living. That's what Lindsay wanted. Okay. She nods quietly as she cries. Running out of time, Liv. We need to get everyone out of here. Jin, let's get going. Still unable to stop her sobbing, she gets up from Lindsay's bed and takes a step toward Liv. Yes, let's go. Yeah, Vanessa just walks in and is like, yes, time to make things worse. Because it's her specialty. Oh dear. Why should you persuade someone who wants to die? Do you think those two vehicles are gonna accommodate everyone here? Why does everyone calm down the moment Vanessa pulls everyone back to reality because it's her job? Oh, so we have a boy and a dog unaccounted for? I just barely missed the first group and I sprained my ankle. The boy looks around the crowd and matches beside Stanley. Can I still go? That depends if they have time to come back a third time. But hetero creatures will be here by then, won't they? Right. Protecting the massive incoming horde, there's no way you can take them ourselves while also protecting the refugees. So, looks like this is the last trip. Silence fills the basement, everyone knows hanging in anticipation to be read their sentencing. Get your commandant on board first to squeeze the rest in however you like. As for those who can't get in, they stay here. And for those who need to be carried out of here, the crowd rushes to the basement exit without waiting for her to finish speaking, nearly pushing Vanessa to the ground. Alright, get your commandant on board. As the three of them carry the commander to the surface, the scene erupts into chaos. Quit pushing and shoving. The roars of Heterocritus gradually become audible, causing everyone to panic. Liv rushes to the chaotic cry to protect the pickles from being overturned by the crowd. Form a line. Liv's injury makes it difficult to stand up straight in the crowd. Some people reluctantly form a line as she tries to block the vehicle, but most of the injured refugees rush to the door, causing the whole rescue vehicle to shake. I'm gonna push my way on if I have to. There's not enough space. Why are you pushing? Your belly even hurt. You can steal my spot. Of course, I hear the sound. It's like an earthquake. They're gonna be here in any minute. It's the sound of everyone's feet. Who the hell do you think you are? Quit stepping on my shoulders. Doesn't matter. I'm getting on. Amidst the chaos and crowding, people no longer care about each other's wounds. They regard themselves as luggage and cram the vehicles full. Even then, some people make no attempt to board the vehicle. Give me a spot. Scram! You're not even hurt. Take care of yourself. There's a dog in here. Why don't we kick the dog out somewhere else it can fit in? Wonderful. It's quite the clown car you've got going. Vanessa stands at the basement entrance and applauds the crowd in her usual mocking attitude. So how fast can the overload vehicle drive? Think you can outrun the hetero creatures? No one responds to her question, everyone just holds their breath in anticipation. You don't leave space for the several of the critically injured or even the commander. I think Ray Raven will serve you anyway. Leave the commander with me. I don't need my hands to fight. Leave the commandant with me. You're better off taking care of the wounded. Then it's settled. For those who aren't on board, sorry, looks like you have to stay here. See you in another life. Don't leave me. I want to find my big bro. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been so reckless. I beg you, take me with you anywhere. He kneels down behind the rescue vehicle in despair and looks up to plead those who are aboard the vehicle climb the windows and roof as they ignore his cries. That's all I want. I don't want to die. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Put on some protective gear and hide. We'll come back to pick you up. No, don't leave me, please, I beg you. He kneels at Liv's feet and begs her. You really come back, Miss Liv? I promise. Alright, he can take my spot. Stanley and Matches squeeze their way out into the tightly packed vehicle. I wait for you here. Get going. Stanley, thank you. Sorry, I blamed you all this time. He lugs Stanley as a constant stream of tears and snot rolls down his cheeks. It's nothing. So it's decided. Leave the rest here. Jin. It's okay. I'll keep Lindsay company. No, it's not okay. An odd voice in his owner squeezed out of the vehicle. Go kiddo. Go kiddo. You've got the whole life ahead of you. Don't let Lindsay's sacrifice be in vain. But with those old bones of mine, besides, I can't bring myself to leave my husband. I'll keep him company. But if you feel sorry for me, then I want you to do something for me. She takes out a tightly crossed bag containing the rice left over by Carly. One day, when you find a safe place to live, plant this rice. No matter what you eat, leave some seeds for future generations and pass on our tradition. Okay. Good gal. Then all of this is worth it. She hands the bag to Jin and pats her on the shoulders. Get going, kiddo. Jin nods carefully and takes the bag, then boards the vehicle. Let's get going. I'll carry Nagayuki. Captain, you take Kanata. Okay. The old lady smiles and waves to everyone. The boy hurriedly takes out his notebook before leaving, tears out the last blank page and hands it to Stanley with his pen. This is a thank you gift. It can make your wishes come true. Thank you. Now get going. The three people staying here watch Lucia and Vanessa get into the driver's cabin. The other vehicle groans and drives away at less than optimistic speed. The moment the vehicle drives out of the conservation area, Liv looks back at the others where Lindsay lies as a cold thought enters her mind. Do we still have time? Is there any other way? No, there isn't. If only we could carry even more people, but we don't have no other choice. Liv painfully forces herself to look back on the road despite the severe pain from the leg wound. She runs in step with the vehicle. If we can hurry, there's still time. 5:58 AM. The two overloaded rescue vehicles drive away at full speed for 6 minutes, but looking back, they still see a full outline of conservation area. Vanessa looks at the speedometer, which only shows 37 kilometers per hour. In order to correct this meaningless escape, she stops the vehicle and hops out the driver's seat. We can't outrun the hedgehog creatures at this speed. She looks at the crowd squeezed in the back of the vehicle. The crowd looks at her outside. As a human, she could be in the same position at the moment, but their eyes are filled with fear. We need to cut it down to 15 people per vehicle so we can leave in time. 15? What? But there's just 40 of us. You want more of us to die? If we don't, all of us will die here. Deafening protest breaks out in the crowded vehicle. In Vanessa's eyes, the twisted box of countless redundant mouths growing on it. I don't agree with this. Oh, what are you gonna do? Oh dear. Lucia doesn't immediately answer. She looks at her companions, asking Liv and leave their consent with her eyes. We'll stay here and stop the hedgehog creatures, then lure them away to give everyone time to retreat. Color me surprised. I expect nothing less from a puppet Oswald. Do you know what this will lead to? Your naivety will get that commander killed. I don't deny the risk, but I prefer to believe in the strength of Grey Raven. Strength! 3 exhausted constructs, 1 which is injured. Grey Raven has really inherited the commander's naivety and arrogance. You've already left a lot of people behind. We know the risks. We won't go back down. Is that what the chief wants? That fool in your arm only saved you because someone was a little bit too big for their breeches. Don't exalt the commanded. If it wasn't for this fool, we wouldn't be here. And you wouldn't have been saved. Oh. So, you should give up the commander's life to save these worthless refugees? Nothing with life is worthless. We will stick together and overcome any obstacle. We never flee the battlefield because of hardship or fear. Won't flee. Hear this. She thinks of T-Cell. Vanessa had no interest in knowing whether he was seriously injured and couldn't return, or if he's on the same road as those deserters. For a long time, Egret had attracted people who were afraid of death because of his low casualty rate and tactics designed to maximize benefits. In the face of such an unwinnable battle, serious injury or defection would be highly likely. This wasn't the first time she had seen such puppets, but every puppet that tries to escape and disobeys its master's orders has been well trained by Vanessa. Shouldn't a puppet be punished for disobeying its master? She's always believed in this truth, but still cannot stop her puppets from defecting. She doesn't feel that she is wrong, but rather they were selfish and afraid of death. In her opinion, since Vod is unconscious, Grey Raven will find a chance to escape in order to survive. But Grey Raven has it. They saved her and the refugees and are willing to give up their lives to stick to the commander's faith. Harley Joe, Simon, Yata, Eleanor, and the others are so reckless. They won't return to Babylonia until they are sure the mission is complete. They've saved everyone they could. Why? Before graduating from FOS, a seemingly unpopular instructor had said to her, "Every life has its own unique value, no matter how small. They're all part of this world. If you want to be the best commander, you must remember this truth. If you despise life, you detest worthless things, you will lose everything one day." Hearing this, she thought the instructor was just an idealist trying to use the scare tactics to promote friendly cooperation. When tactics failed and she was in trouble, she never thought about this idea. But now, the fool she deemed unworthy is lying quietly in the arms of the construct. Even without saying a word, the construct still quietly abide by the commander's ideology. Only then does she think about what that instructor had said. Is this what makes us different? She reaches out to grasp some She reaches out as if to grasp some non-existent phantom and then smiles. Get going. Egret will take care of the luring of the hedgehog creatures. What? But you... You heard me. It's only Bonita and me. But I'm prepared to fight. She shakes her tactical bag containing her last trump card. But Bonita has long been acquainted with Vanessa's ideology. Countless puppets have disappeared or were sacrificed in exchange for victory. But this time is different. Vanessa wants to prove that she can achieve victory while making this puppet a companion to stay with. Instead of giving Bonita the contents of her tactical bag, she puts herself on the chessboard. But you won't survive against that many hedgehog creatures, no matter what you've got in that bag. What are you talking about? Don't misjudge my own strength unlike that naive commanded. That's what will go with these people. Don't wait for me to clear up these troubles. You haven't reached your destination yet. But have any other bright ideas? Even if you stay, you only get caught up in the crossfire. What about you? I have my ways. Don't worry, I won't die here, so tell that chief for me. Remember, I saved your lives today, and you better thank me when I get back. Vanessa. Let's get going. She's already made up her mind. Thank you. She waves lazily to everyone with her usual smile, watches the two vehicles drive away in silence. When the vehicles slowly disappear outside, they hear the sound of hedgehog creatures gradually approaching. First, we should draw their attention. Yes, mistress. Carrying Vanessa in her arms, Moon uses the short-range drone to leap into the air. By the light of the daybreak, they see the slow path of the city has turned into a scarlet wave. And it is but fragments of your own self will discard that you may become free. "6:13 a.m. Shortly after the main troop has evacuated, the ground quakes and reverberates due to some sort of explosion. After the deafening noises fade away, the world goes quiet for another half a minute before the footsteps of the horde of hedgehog creatures come from somewhere nearby. They do not seem to notice the people hiding in the basement. Instead, they go straight across the conservation area and head for where the explosion took place. The footsteps continue for more than half an hour, then a few more loud bangs come from the distance. Trapped in the basement, the elders and the boy have no way of knowing what is going on out there, but they notice the central purification filter has started glowing red after the footsteps of those hedgehog creatures disappeared. No one can tell what the red indicators mean, they only know something has stopped working. Then the malfunctioning central purification filter starts sending in thick mists of the punishing viruses so breathable air is no longer safe to hide on the ground. The old woman helps Connie return to the surface, but then returns to where they were half an hour later. All I saw out there was the red tide that like mud scattered everywhere on the surface. Some were even buried in pits. She points at her leg. The part of her body below the ankles covered in red tide has started to fester. The pits are even deeper for her. We're trapped here. Distressed, she sighs and sits on the stretcher. She cannot move her attention away from Kali. Oh man, try to rest. Ouch. No, I'm hurting too. I stepped into red tide just to find you a path forward. My legs are festering now. I'm afraid my time is coming soon. Rest now. When you wake up, the pain will have gone away. Trembling, Kali nods and lies on the empty stretcher. 11 AM. It has been 5 hours after the main troop evacuated. Judging by how fast they travelled last time, they have to be well on their way back. After the thought of this, Stanley smiles. He raises his hand around Match's head in attempt to keep hunger at bay by feeling his soft touch. The old woman sitting not very far away lifts up her pants and reveals a pair of legs that have been completely corroded by the punishing virus. Before Liv leaves, she leaves behind 2 serums and a can from the scarce resources. The 3 struggle to decide how to distribute the supplies and eventually give a can to Stanley, and that the old couple have the serums. But Stanley does not open the can immediately. He plans to save his precious supply until the very last. Now that the supplies have been distributed, the boy leaves the 2 elders and goes into the room next door for some sleep. As Kai falls asleep, the old woman still has her eyes wide open, seeming to be reminiscing something. 4 PM. It has been 10 hours after the main troop evacuated. Even dressed in the protective suit, Stanley can still feel the open wounds on her legs festering very quickly. He doesn't know where to find a device to assess the concentration of the punishing virus, but judging by the purulence coming out of his wounds, he can roughly come up with an estimate. How much longer will they take? Judging by their speed last time, they should have returned here by now, but so far, they have heard nothing. Perhaps they aren't traveling slower this time because there are more people. Sandy tries to calm himself. The people in City 44. Before they left on foot, Stanley heard Liv mention the CPF of 44 has also malfunctioned, but he believes Liv and Grey Raven will repair the central purification filter. And he also believes that what she said, that by planning a safety route they can stay away from the red tide. But he's not sure whether he can find such a safety route himself. Is the punished virus in 44 as dense as it is in here? He keeps thinking about these 2 questions, but so far as he can only find a negative answer on them both. Her legs ache as time goes by, and he has to rip and pull at the sheet and pillow to distract himself from the pain. Rory, the matches keeps licking Stanley's hand, which keeps a firm grip on the pillow. This would have brought Stanley peace of mind, but the same trick does not work well this time. Nevertheless, he tries his best to raise his trembling hand until he matches into his arms. I'm glad you're okay. Now I wish humans were just like animals. You can carry the punishing virus, but you're not affected by it. Why is that? Why are animals so affected? It seems to affect all other living organisms, such as plants. Actually, it destroys plants and it breaks them down into and it creates into heteroplants. It's okay. I'm sure we'll get better. You said so yourself. She will return. Oof. Tears stream down Sandy's face and drop on Match's head, but the tears stop rolling down from there. As the dog's fur sucks the tears dry, as if the dog stops the pain. I will get better. He struggles to put a smile on his face and takes out a pen and paper the boy gave him. If I could realize my wishes, I want to leave this place and find freedom. Knowing he will end up in vain, he dares dream all the same. In the corner of this paper that makes wishes come true, draws a pair of simple wings. Take me to the sky, across and beyond the red tide. Like a drowning person holding onto his life, saving straw, he thickens the lines of the pair of wings. Together with my matches away from this place to somewhere we belong. However, tormented by hunger, agony, and the punishing virus, he struggles to see the wings clearly, no matter how hard he thickens those lines. In a trance, telling us a series of crimson petals drop on the pair of wings and blossom like a flower of despair. It's blood. 9 p.m. After nightfall, the surface now painted in red is dark and silent as the basement. After 15 hours of waiting, there is still no news of bringing hope from outside the gate of this conservation area. Carly awakes several hours later in a daze. He bridges his pun and taps on her shoulder but realizes she is cold as ice. Nina? He struggles to pronounce her name, but his ice-cold body will no longer respond to his call. Time is always one step ahead. He could even say goodbye before she went gently into the good night. In the dim light, the old man caresses her wrinkled skin and festering wounds as if he's coming back through his memories, trying to recall the Lena he remembers. It's been a long time together. Illness and aging took away many of his memories, but the remaining ones are all whispering the same name. Lena. Lena. With tears in his eyes, he looks at the woman named Lena and holds her cold hands with his rough ones before leaning against her. Wait for me. We will go back home together. Hunger, cancer, infection, aging, all these as he tickets to heaven. He will surely follow in her wife's footsteps very soon. 6 a.m. The cozy breeze travels across this land ravaged with disasters as the light of dawn shines. But this beautiful view does not bode well for the boy who suffers from his festering wounds. The only thing keeping the pain at bay for him is the night when he is asleep. It has been 24 hours since the main troop evacuated. The hopeless people waiting in this basement still receive no news from the outside world. What could have happened to them? Or have they decided to abandon us? For the next few hours, he tries to fall asleep again many times, but then, and time again, he is awakened by pain or hunger. He struggles to get out of bed, but realizes he is too weak to do so. We're left with them. It would be bad if anything happened to them, but I think I'm okay with that. After all, I never enjoyed living. Do you ever realize you just said? In a trance, he recalls what Liv once asked him, but the memory is soaked in the sea of nothingness and it's hard to recollect. He only remembers that before this everlasting desperate nightmare arrived, he thought he was not afraid of illness or death because of the pain he had suffered. What did I say? Struggling to recollect that fragment piece of his memory, the boy curbs his body, fighting hard to resist the insurmountable pain. The festering wounds torment both his body and his soul. If life is so painful, he might as well embrace death. But what if he could break free from the suffering and live somewhere peacefully without pain? No, that's impossible. He tries to convince himself, but deep down he still wants to give it a try. Oof. When all hope is lost, then he hears a sound coming from the gate of his basement. It seems like someone is approaching. They're back! After hours of waiting, this glimpse of hope is like an injection of adrenaline, giving him enough power to fight off the physical pain and fatigue and struggle to stand up. Excited and happy, he staggers to find the old couple sleeping next door. Carly, they're back. Carly? Sally notices the old couples aren't moving. Confused, he takes 2 steps forward and tries to tap on Carly's shoulder, but realizes their faces are pale white. He tries to resuscitate them by just like how an adult would do, but realizes their bodies have long grown cold and stiff. He suddenly lifts up their clothes and sees the skins have turned into a festering red tide, just like the wounds on his body. Matches, even they are. It's okay. If we're the only ones left, we'll make it out of this place. Clothes are stuck to his sticky, coagulated prudence and blood. The slightest pull of the clothes brings him an indescribable pain. But to find hope that lies behind the steel gate, he holds his cane firmly and heads for the outside world. With a deep, loud noise, the sealed gate opens. The morning breeze carries a stench that floods the basement. Heralding now, he will find no salvation in the outside world. What was the sound that he heard? What did it come from? Was it the wind and the ruins making the noises? Or was his mind playing tricks on him? Where are you? Mustering all his strength, he cries. The shout echoes through the wasteland of this conservation, and eventually only wind answers his call. Still must be near, right? The others are not back yet. There's just be a scout who actually trespassed this area. The boy does not want to give up hope. Takes a step forward and leaves the people sleeping forever in that basement. He starts climbing and searching. 10 a.m. He leaves the basement and searches the entire conservation area, but even now he has reached the top of this building, so a single soul in sight. It has been 28 hours since the main troop left. No one is coming back. Everyone is dead. Having lost all hope, he lies prone on top of this building and looks down at its central courtyard below. He wants to cry, but there's no tears left to be shed. Take me away from this place, please. To search in this building isn't very spacious. He spent 4 hours moving around. With every step he takes, the wounds pain him. He has run out of stamina. There's no way he can return the way he came. For more than a month, he and Matches have never had a proper meal. It's not just him. Even Matches was running out of strength and lied flat on the floor. To most scavengers, 28 hours is nothing but time that passes in the twinkling of an eye. It was like that to Stanley once. But having been tormented by a month of hunger and illness, 24 hours of suffering and 4 hours of seeking are enough to nearly kill him. The boy is on the verge of death. Suddenly he looks at the can in his hand. That is his hope. Do things like inventive Matches and I eat this now? The answer to that is no. A half-full can will not bring back strength or heal wounds. The fact will not change. He is trapped on the top of a building in the conservation area, and there's no way he can walk all the way back. Before long, he'll be affected by the punishing virus. His body will fester, and he will meet his end here. To him, eating is pointless now. He might as well save it for another creature that needs it more. The boy has made up his mind. He opens the can and places it in front of Matches. Come. You can have it. Watching as Matches chows down the food, he finds a smile on his face. Why am I still smiling? He thinks to himself. Is it because the situation has improved? Of course not. This boy is smiling because he sees Matches happy. That alone brings peace to his mind. Sorry I couldn't find any supplies to feed you sooner. He looks at the sky through that pair of wings he drew on the paper. Some memories previously blurred to him are becoming clearer. I need Matches by my side. He's the only thing keeping me going. If I ever run out of supplies, I'll abandon myself, not Matches. I remember now. I remember what I told Liv. Putting down the paper back into his pocket, he grasps the delusional fantasy. Matches, I'm happy. I can still have a can left for you. So, he has no regrets. In his mind, the boy nearing his death grows a pair of wings on his back. I'm leaving place to soar in the sky. Woof. Sorry, I cannot take Goofy. Do you hate me for that? Oh. If you don't answer me, I'll take that as a no. Forgive me. I'm sorry. He struggles to stand up and slowly moves close to the edge of the building. Do you think they're ever coming back? I hope they do, but at the same time, I feel I might run into the red tide that surrounds this conversation area. With just every moment, those festering wounds being pulled and torn, bring insufferable pain, but he doesn't stop. Oof. If they do return and realize there's no one left here, will they be sad? Guess I won't live long enough to find out. He shakes his hand and shakes off the meaningless thoughts, but still he decides to leave a message on the back of that paper. I don't know if I'm right here, right, but I had more time to learn. With this little regret, he puts this paper script with a barely intelligible message into the cleanest pocket of his shirt. I'm leaving now, Matches. Stay strong and live. When you have to eat my body to survive, to do it. This is all I can do for you. He spreads the wings in his mind like a bird longing for freedom. He presses the sky and looks up to chase the sunlight. I'm sorry. See you in the next life. The boy jumps off the building. But as expected, a pair of spiritual wings cannot take flight. The boy quickly falls to the ground and hits a pile of empty boxes. But it was in a scripted story. His pain would have stopped right there and there, but reality doesn't have such mercy on him. The pieces of scraps in those books would have delayed his death. The Grim Reaper didn't come to collect his soul and take away his pain as quickly as he's fought. He tries to move his body. He's no longer in control. Now all he can do is wait and see how things unfold. The first thing he notices is the sound of flowing liquid. Unlike the sound of raindrops falling on the ground or water streaming out of a tube, this is more like when you break a bottle and the milk inside starts leaking out. Though there isn't much difference, he can still tell the liquid is thicker than water. It's most likely his blood. Later on, numbness and pain started seeping through his limbs, eating away his consciousness. When the feeling of pain fills his limbs, Stanley finally realizes he no longer has enough strength to shout. Death has never been just a number, a name, or a list of victims. It is the body that carries the weight of both past and future, experiencing unimaginable pain as the mind gets ground to dust. The agony of fractured limbs becomes almost eternal. Each drop of blood takes years to fall to the ground. It hurts. His voice is muffled by the blood as it turns into bubbling noises. His heart is ravaged by pain. Had he known this would be so tormenting, he would still chose to take his life this way. Death has never been easy. It is not simply a way out. Do I regret this? Before this day, he had witnessed many people's deaths. Many refugees would tell themselves the worst that can happen is death. He remembers when he passed by the conservation area. A conservation worker wearing glasses mentioned the term sustained suicide fantasy. He said that the thought might look pessimistic and negative, but it could help people to find a way out, and that process for a little bit of courage to carry on. Except that isn't really a way out. Once you step into it, things become a downward spiral. The boy is being tormented by extreme pain that continues to attack his mind and his soul. His throat cannot shout, so instead his heart bleeds and wails and screams for him. As it happens, a question to himself becomes clear. Will death really free me? No. An old man once told him that freedom was the ability to run free, even when you were burdened with shackles. If a man gives up life to chase freedom, he is but a slave of his desire, forced to give up on himself. Every inch of his body is in pain, protesting his foolish decision. The agony is pulling at his mind, begging him to stand up and save himself. So did all this happen because he made a wrong choice? No. He struggles and utters the same answer he had given to so many questions. From the very beginning he thought about the possibility the main troop might not return. But even so, Stanley doesn't regret giving another person a chance to evacuate. My regret is that Since he was born, he has suffered much pain and failed many people. All of it makes an idea very clear. If he had a choice, he didn't wish to be born into this world. This regret planted a seed in his mind that has been growing ever since, which is why he always put others before himself. But no matter how much he regrets this life, he cannot deny his existence. So this child who resents and despises life so much, knowing death isn't a way out, and that there is a heavy price to pay, has no choice but to face his tragic ending all the same. People who have not experienced love will spend their lives looking for substitutes. This child, abandoned time and time again, always wants to prove somehow he doesn't always have to be left behind. Now that he has felt the pain and loneliness of pain. Hang on. Now that he has felt the pain and loneliness of pain. Is that meant to be the pain of loneliness? Oh, okay. He finally understands the value of life, and he's more certain than ever that he has no regrets. This is all I ever wish for. Suffering the pain that is tearing apart, the boy finds his answer and starts praying. Then all the blood has escaped, the body becomes frozen in time. Though it was only a brief moment, suddenly he felt it strongly. His soul went through the ground and learned how to fly. But there is no would have. 2:07 p.m. It's been 32 hours since she left the conservation area of City 43. The girl finally makes it back to the place, her leg fractured and broken. Liv wants to speak, but her words are lost before they can reach her trembling lips. Her leg is in pain, but compared to that, when she feels it just even worse. It's like something got stuck there and is pulling at her pain nerves. No matter how many times she checks, the result is the same. The boy in front of her has grown cold and lifeless. The sunlight at noon is warm. A gentle breeze echoes through the central court in empty halls like a playful child. The exit to freedom is so close and yet so far to reach those trapped here. The sorrow and sadness she tried so hard to bury inside her heart over these past few days are too much to bear. She can no longer hold it in. Her mind crumples, letting all her most emotional feelings. She hates herself. The skinny border collie circles around his dead master, licking the blood that has run dry and turned back, but the wounds will never heal again. It turns around and touches Liv's hand in his nose, telling her to use her bandage. The girl, dressed in a white suit, looks down at the item in her hand. It's a gift that comes from her perilous journeys from over the past 31 hours. Back then, there was still hope. Making through countless collapsed buildings lying in rubble while surrounded by corrupted and hetero creatures. Two overloaded ambulances drove for 13 hours before they reached the conservation area of City 46. Just as Lucia predicted, the armed scavengers living in this place are not at all friendly. After some exchanges using violent forces and firepower, their leader finally agreed to have a friendly conversation with the constructs. Get out of here. Constructs are not welcome here. This conservation is our promised land. We kept our side of the bargain and rebuilt it. But when we took the liberty and gave it to someone else. Now that we've finally reclaimed what is rightfully ours, your filthy dogs still refuse to let us be. No, we just want to find shelter for the wounded people in these cars. I'm sick and tired of excuses. They told us last time they had to prioritize those in need due to limited resources. And guess what happened? We were driven away and forced to rebuild another place. No, that's not what we want. We were indeed under attack by a bunch of hetero creatures, but we have never taken advantage of your space. Please listen to us and give us a chance. They've tried to explain the many benefits if everyone helps each other, but the scavengers won't listen to reason. In the end, what makes them compromise is the hetero creatures' disaster that took place in 43. In exchange, all the constructs of the Graveyards must remain there to stand guard and protect 46 from the potential threat of more hetero creatures. Since the threat is real, I will insist no longer. I hope we can survive together, but when things get in hand, we have to save our own skin first. Bring your casualties inside and don't forget your promise. Rest assured, I never go back on my words. After helping the casualties and refugees settle down and handing over their duties, in the conservation area of City 46 to the other guards, Grey Raven returns once again to City 43. After the problems are resolved, Grey Raven returns once again to 43. But Wasteland isn't the flat wasteland they used to see in the outskirts of area of City 43. Instead, they see despair in Christmas color. This time, the red tide isn't as overwhelming as the one they encountered in the City 75, but it's more than enough to submerge the outskirts of 43. Thankfully, the conservation area is located on high ground and safe from the threat for now. We don't have enough protective messages. We must proceed with caution. It's okay. I know an underground tunnel. It has a metro system men halfway through its development. Many corrupted workers still remain there. This can be dangerous. We have to take a detour, but it's absolutely doable, and we'll make it there in time. If nothing went wrong, would they have safely made it past through the red tide and back to the conservation area in 3 hours? But there is no would have. Without the commandant's access, they have no way of knowing which city the twins are. And when they appear within the detecting range of live sensors, Grey Raven realizes the incarnation of despair and catastrophe has already made it across 42 and arrived at this very place. Dot dot dot. Dot dot dot. They want to cross the red tide. They are approaching the conservation area. Carly, Nina, Stanley, and Matt is still there in the conversation area. We have to stop them. We cannot directly make it through the red tide, but if we take a detour, we'll be too late. Let's draw their attention. There's the only way to stop them from getting inside the conservation area. Alright. Standing right next to the red tide, Lee shoots at the twins from 3.8 kilometers away several times, but the distance proves to be a problem as those shots fail to land on their targets. Tisk. If only Snipe or Washington was here. Wait a minute. I think they're turning around and heading for us. Have we been spotted? They're indeed approaching us. Perhaps they heard our voices. Another possibility is those creatures have learned, or I should say, stolen the movement detecting technologies from certain constructs. In any case, we have managed to draw our target's attention. Let's split up and retreat. Let's not engage them in a fight. Alright. You go that way, Liv? Okay. You go that way, Liv? I'll carry you. 3 of them immediately jump off the car and run off in different directions, under the cover of night. Twins seem to have noticed this trick and stop for a few seconds to rethink the next move. Then they imitate Grey Raven's tactic. Male twin turns to chase Lee as the female twin follows closely behind Liv and Lucia. The pursuit continues for hours. They hunt Grey Raven with such ease that it is more likely they're playing with their prey. We cannot shake them off. I don't fear they are even going at full speed. What must we do to escape? Lee, what's your status? Same as yours. Still on my tail. Though they managed to distract the twins from the conservation area, they were also trapping themselves in a tricky situation at the same time. Just when the 3 of them are exhausted, desperate, and about to give up, they received a call from Babylonian HQ. Seizing their once chance to shake off the twins, the members of the Grey Raven agreed to participate in the first testing program of the Mega prototype. Starting from there, they are caught in a fierce fight where bullets fly and blades clash. The 3 of them suffer different levels of injuries. Liv's leg previously bandaged and supported by a splint fractures completely. She can barely move without Lucia helping her. And when they finally return, it's all too late. The 3 of them split up and were searching for survivors in 43, but Vanessa and Bomita were nowhere to be found. Tired and winded, Liv trudges back to the conservation area, only to find the 3 people who stayed behind have passed away. What about the 4th person? Oh, she took the dog spot. Or she just left. Tired and Munu and Liv trudges back to the conservation area only to find 3 people who stayed behind have passed away. All the deaths that Liv witnessed before didn't make her indifferent or cold-hearted. She regrets her inability to save lives. If only I had the ability to change all this, or had been able to take them with us, I would have been able to save them. Carly, Lena, Stanley, Vanessa, Benita, all of them. But there's no would have. Meanwhile, the researchers and decision makers of Babylonia are waiting anxiously, dying to know if their hope has borne any fruits. The mission is complete, and we made it. It seems Grey Raven has enough strength to handle the twins. No, if they had enough strength, they would have been driven to the corner. He sighs, and that is rare. Had we given Grey Raven more time to prepare, they would have done better, and the result would have also been better. But there is no would have. Devastated by the disaster and hunted by our enemies, neither the victims nor our Grey Raven had time to react, and those maniacs wouldn't wait either. Show me the records. Nikolai takes the terminal from Celica. Together the two of them look at its data, their eyebrows frowned. In the footage, Grey Raven barely managed to complete the rescue mission at the crash site and throw the Omega prototype at the male twin. Coming into contact with the cube, his skin started to fester, melt, and peel off. Like a human, he wailed and watched his skin fell to the ground. That's all the damage we can do. It seems this punishing virus was absorbed. Recycle the weapon. We do another test round on the female twin. Okay. After an ugly fight, they finally landed the Omega type on the female twin as well. The same festering process occurred, this time eating away her hands and chest. Not only that, the festering wounds caused by this weapon didn't heal shortly afterward. We have the data we needed. The 2 tests show pretty much the same result. Our mission is done. We're back. She turns around, only to find Liv's leg is broken. Liv, we gotta get out of here. She grabs Liv by the hand and uses the thrust to take flight, quickly pulling her away from the 2 extremely dangerous threats. The twins learn and adapt very fast, but they're not smart enough to see enough through the tricks of our Omega weapon yet. Recorded data shows the twins watched as Liv and the others left. They were looking at each other's wounds and making twisted, horrifying sounds. Don't worry about me. I am not leaving you here. And who are they imitating this time? After the 2 went out of sight, the twins finally started to observe the Omega prototype dropped on the ground. They no longer made physical contact. Instead, they found tools from the surroundings and used them to touch the cube in front of them. Before soon, this Omega prototype, hence it was once called Hope, stopped functioning because it was both overloaded and ravaged by stones. The record stopped there. Are they still following Grey Raven? No. As more believes they are now wary of the Omega prototype, which is why they have also given up on pursuing Grey Raven. But I don't think they... No. It's nothing. He was right. This experiment did help Grey Raven get out of the dangerous situation. What happened to our team that helped deliver the Omega prototype? Grey Raven tried to save them. 4 survived and 6 died. And they only managed to retrieve 1 supply box. With these ugly numbers, the 2 know this is a fair deal. They sacrificed more than they could rescue. But they didn't send down this cube to Omega type just to rescue people. Sacrifices are inevitable. Had we faltered, we would have suffered heavier losses. Have we delivered data and records to Asimov? Yes, we've confirmed it. Our Omega prototype does not have the power to absorb the Punisher virus and actually hurt the twins. Edson feels relieved. Oof. Just when Liv is better fall down deeper into a vortex of regrets, a loud barking sound interrupts her thoughts. Matches. Upon hearing his name, the border collie sits next to Liv like a good boy. There's only one left. Should she take him with her? The people are biased, but they don't like matches. Perhaps she would let him go free of his own good, but he might not live safely out there. The enemies running in the outside world might attack matches, including those humans. Liv doesn't know what to do, but then she notices something white in the boy's breast pocket. What's this? Her trembling hand takes out a note and stained with blood from the breast pocket. She opens the note and sees a pair of wings. Lines are thick as they are going to penetrate this paper. Her fingers move along the pencil lines and flip the paper over as she finds the scribbled message left by the boy. I'm worried about Matches. By the time you return, Matches is still here. Please take him with you. I don't regret leaving that vehicle. I wanted to help him. If you see me like this, please don't be sad. The fact that you've kept your promise in return, this makes me happy. Thank you. I'm afraid I must go now. It is life that gives onto life. Liv properly buries Lindsay, Carly, Lena, and Stanley. Alright. Lindsay's actually meant. Oh, wait, she was already dead. Never mind. Then she takes Matches and leaves Conservation Area 43. Along the journey, she remains silent. The voices of self-doubts overwhelm her mind. It isn't until she meets up with her companions that she finally picks herself up. Upon returning to Conservation Area 46, Liv gives the bloodstained note back to its owner. The boy has found his brother among the armed refugees. Holding the note in his arms, he starts crying. But just as she expected, the people are hostile against the border collie. Oh yeah, the border collie. Does want Liv to take him outside. Will I truly be able to change all this? Whether it is Matches or Stanley or the other memories buried deep in her mind, the lies she couldn't save are like the sand in an hourglass, falling down to the bottom as every second passes. Even if she does not catch a grain of sand, it will eventually meet the same tragic fate, just like Matches. Just like how Stanley didn't want Fantine to have a child. No one can change this world, even survive just extending the pain. I couldn't even help Commandant. At the thought of the unconscious Commandant, Liv starts to get overwhelmed by grief and despair. If Sword never wakes up, that means the mistake they made in the pool of forest parkruns have cost the Commandant's life. Sorry. I'm so sorry. But her apology and guilt can no longer reach that human. If Flawed didn't wake up, what would the Commandant have told her? A long time ago, she too apologized for her inability, but then Flawed just said something to her. It is meaningful. Even the smallest change in help can make a difference, although they may not seem so full for the time being. It's only meaningless if you give up. Upon recalling this familiar voice, Liv feels much more at ease and calm. I must not give up yet. I have to push just a little further. She nods to herself, trying to recollect the strength to fight and help. But before Liv can shake off the negative thoughts, she hears a commotion from outside. No. It's Johnny and the others. The armed refugee holds the blood-stained cloth in his hands, trying to catch up his breath. Date died before you could finish this sentence. I don't know where they are. Liv. She wants to remind Liv, but realizes that she has already started the search. This is bad. There are only a few targets in the search here, and they're all severely infected by the punishing virus. So, they're all corrupted? They might not be within the search range. Perhaps they... The worst case scenario comes to her mind, but she doesn't want to say it out loud. When did they leave? About 10 hours ago. Shortly after you left. They took Fantine and drove your car to go outside. Why did they bring Fantine along? She said she had been pregnant for 39 weeks and had to find supplies to get prepared for delivery. I tried to stop her, but she said that the others didn't know what supplies she needed, so she had to be there herself. It has been 10 hours. I wonder if we can find him if we split up the search. There's no way to waste your strength. They brought a pregnant woman with them. Dante said something happened to Johnny and died in front of him. The only person who's still MI instead of KI is that woman. But we should go live. Woof. Matches, you wanna come along? Woof woof. Yes, take this dog with you too. We wouldn't have just wasted our food anyway, if we didn't turn him into food first. Don't be sad, Liv. Rura told me border collies are very clever. Just might help us find a target. When the nerve did Fura told you that border collies are clever, unless he's calling you puppies and said, aren't you the clever border collies? That's the only time I imagine Fury would say that. She knows Liv is still blaming herself for what happened. Before Liv gets overwhelmed by grief again, Lucia quickly brings her attention back to the task at hand. Do you know where we can find Fantine's luggage? I want to let Matches sniff it and remember her smell. Yes, I'll bring it here right away. Let's wind the time back 10 hours ago. Grey Raven hasn't returned to Conservation Area 46 to search for supplies. To search for supplies and get prepared for a delivery, Fenton gives a heads up to the Gold Truck station in this Conservation Area leaves with Johnny and the others. Protected by her companions, she managed to collect all the required supplies earlier than she expects. Being pregnant, she cannot move around too much, so she sits on the bench in the small square waiting. Looking at the setting sun, she rubs her hand against the blanket she just found and checks the supplies she will need when she delivers her child. Yeah, everything's here. She looks up into the distance and thinks about the future of her child as she waits for her companions to return. I don't know if it's a good idea to bring you into this world. She thinks about the harsh, cool world and ponders the question. If only you could answer the question for me, my child. That would be nice. Before meeting Stanley, someone asked her the same question. Back then, she didn't hesitate to give a positive answer. Fantine grew up in an environment where she was constantly hungry and on the run. Even so, she considers herself a happy, lucky girl. She was loved by her family and her husband. She wanted to share that feeling with her child. The two of them had planned out a future for their baby and worked very hard to make it happen. She remembers how she and her husband were crying tears of joy when they heard the news they could stay in the conservation area. But everything came crumbling down after that disaster in the forest park. Those who once loved her so much are now nothing but memories of the past. If things get worse, she won't even be able to protect himself, alone their child. It is really a good idea to bring our child in this world. She has lost count how many times she ponders this question after that conversation with Stanley. Everyone's gone. There's no home for me to go back to. If I lose this child as well. Tears start running in her eyes as Fendi thinks about the possibility that she has to live her life alone. Love goes both ways. She wants to love her child and be loved back. It's like I'm doing this for my own good. It is selfish act to bring new life into this cruel world just not to feel lonely and feel loved. This is not fair for this child. But how can we know for sure this child will hate this world? Short and eventful as it is, her 27 hours of her life are beautiful thanks to her loved ones, especially her parents. No one knows what the future holds. So, who should make this decision? As Fantine is speaking, some familiar voice comes from the corner of the alley. Run, now! She looks toward where the raspy voice comes from and sees a staggering hedgerow sapien. Fantine, run, now. What is the hedgerow doing here? Why does it speak like a human? But Fantine has no time to think. Fortunately, its sound has caught Fantine's attention and she runs away before it's too late. Help! She has read little books and knows that running out 39 weeks of pregnancy could lead to an early labor. She's not ready for seeing the baby yet, but at the moment she has no choice but to run as fast as she can while holding her belly. God, please give me a bit more time. her pain gradually increasing. Fantine sprints with all might toward the familiar street ahead. Woof woof woof. The hetero segment we defeated just now had the same sound as Johnny. We are too late. No news from Fantine yet. Let's keep searching. Okay. Don't tell me she's also gonna die. How long was she running? How long did she pass out? 10 hours or more? Fantine has no idea. All she knows is that the moon has risen and the sun has set, causing the bloodstains on the road. The child in her arms, who had been born in a clean room, slipped into the sword unprepared and landed in the mud. Hello there, little one. It's a girl. Warm blood keeps flowing out from her body and she feels colder and colder from the loss of blood. She doesn't have to know what is going on exactly, she can tell. There is no time to lose. Fantine trembles as she picks up the baby covered in blood and swallows her in a soft blanket. Sorry, we have no choice, but she struggles to reach out her hand to the most vulnerable part of the body. The baby's neck is so soft and so delicate. Strangle it and his little life has not seen the world will have to quick and painless death. This little life will have to wait in a long cold night for help, nor will she have to face the terrible unknown. But it shouldn't be like this. She knows that the child came into this world through their parents, not from them. You can give love to a child, but not ideas. The parent is the bow, and the child is the arrow of life that comes from. This bow woman has long since understood her role, but still, she's determined to destroy her arrow. I have to make a choice for you, sweetie. You hate Mummy, right? Sorry. It's because she regrets her decision back then. Does she regret meeting her husband and conceiving this little life? How would she have lived a safe life if she hadn't been pregnant? Maybe. I wouldn't have been as happy as I am now. Are you really happy? The first answer that comes to Fantine's mind is neither yes or nor no. Before she could say anything, her hands betray her in a tremor and pat the baby instead. As if knowing her mother's grief, the baby responds with loud cries announcing the arrival of a new life. Such a cowardly and selfish mother. Having you in this world is neither my happiness nor my tummy, but my longing. The nearer death draws, more she can not part with this little life. In the cold moonlight, Fantine huddles in despair and makes a prayer to a being that has never believed in before. Please save this child. Let her live. Please give her enough time to choose wisely. Afterward, as if to answer her prayers, a loud bark comes from a short distance away. A pink figure becomes and takes a glimmer of hope from Fantine's hands. Fantine! What's going on? This is postpartum bleeding. Liv carries a lot of medical supplies with her. She hadn't thought about the situation of blood loss, but she shouted in the crowd and no one answered, so she had to come on her own to help. We cannot do a blood transfusion now. If I could stop the bleeding. Thank you, Liv. Liv doesn't want to hear thank you in this situation. Haven't done anything yet. And can I ask you for one thing? Yes, I'm listening. Take my baby away. Please, let her live. Ah, poor Liv. Liv, she's stuck with a dog and now she's stuck with a baby. She's became the unofficial mother. Help her grow up and make sure she can think of herself and make her own decision. Liv looks at the baby in her arms once more. It's a miracle that this little girl is alive and kicking. Only after she's certain that her promise is not empty, one does Liv nod to Fantine. No problem. Thank you, Liv. The dying Fantine breathes a sigh of relief and a smile on her pale face. When she grows up, please tell her Mommy and Daddy brought her into the world because you thought this world was beautiful as it was turbulent. We'd love to tell her about it otherwise, but we can't. We're useless. Sorry. Tears roll down her smiling face. So, if in the future she tries her best to get what she wants, but still hates the world, tell her to go find Mummy and Daddy. Teen, it's okay. Life's not supposed to be a bondage, but a force for good. The choice is hers. I want to name her Cosetta. What do you think? What sort of name is Cosetta? Cosetta. It's a beautiful name. Good. I don't regret giving birth to my baby girl. I've been looking forward to seeing her. Now I see her, but I won't be there for her anymore. Benting closes her eyes slowly. The smile does not fade with her life, as she is still repeating her last words to live. I don't regret giving birth to my baby girl. Do you also not regret dying? Why? The boy's answer was written on paper. He wanted to help others. The woman's answer was pronounced. She gave birth to a life she held dear. The border collie sniffs. The meeting of life and death. Heron makes a sad whimper. Both the boy and the woman in their different situation, with their different beliefs, made the same choice. To sacrifice themselves for the sake of another life. There was this boy who abhorred the future and despised life he saved. There was also this woman who embraced the future and a much loved life she gave birth to. However faint the hope appeared, they both tried to stop the world from spiraling into calamity. At this moment, Liv finally understands what conviction and expectation are all about. Even the smallest change and help can make a difference, although they may not seem so for the time being. Yes, that's right. Life is so short, but doesn't make it meaningless. Every life leaves its unique mark of the well, passing itself to the next life, embracing the death of oneself and others the true meaning of life, Liv thinks. This gives life from one being to another being, to birds, beasts, insects, and flowers. And those lives in turn give their lives to others through death. Life breeds life. Without death, life would not continue. The teary-eyed Liv is holding tiny Cosetta and matches tightly. Yes, death is not eternal departure, leaving those people they cherish. Even if we may never see each other again, if it makes us feel sad and regretful, we'll carry on despite the pain and never give up. With her sorrows vented, Liv feels nothing but resolve. I can make a difference. Whether it's human or construct, animal or insect, it is the diversity of life that makes the world so beautiful. That's why, Commander said, even the smallest change can help make a difference, although they are not seen for the time being. I'll protect the hope that you give me your lives for. I won't let you down. I won't give up, no matter how insignificant my contribution seems. Just like I didn't give up until matches helped me find Fantine and Cosetta. Every life, every little effort counts. We can make it. Escaping from calamity. Sunken and scarlet, escaping from calamity, praying in doomsday, all across the continent. The fourth ship. And I am a long way off. And it's only the first, that's 17 chapters in the first part. Oh, there's so much dialogue. This is probably one of the longest stories. Well, if I was able to do this all of January, probably would have done this by now. Oh well. Time to continue. The fourth ship. Wait, actually, there's actual combat. Actually, how many combat stages in this one? One. And have we actually got a combat stage? In the underground base. What can I do now? Well, I need to keep treating the wounded. What else can I do? There are people who get injured every single day and supplies are scarce. If the source of this catastrophe is removed, all problems will be solved, right? On her way back to the conservation area, 46 lives on one of the Omega prototype. She hadn't paid much attention to it during the test because of the hasty procedure, but in retrospect, the power of the weapon is key to saving the world. If we could test it again with adequate preparation, we can surely achieve better results, right? But a weapon test is dangerous and may hurt people. With Cosetta in her arms, Liv is hesitating for quite a while before she finally asks Lucia. Lucia, do you remember the Omega prototype we tested before? Yes. I was thinking about that too. Remember I could absorb the punching virus. Something that had never happened before. About that, Liv tells Lucia what she thinks. Apply for the testing program again? She thinks about it for a moment. Good idea. The previous test was too hasty. We better prepare this time. We'd have to get better results. Once we eliminate the punishing virus, we'll solve many other problems too. Yes, I remember the look on Lee's face when he saw the tester. I'm sure he wants to try it again too. Top priority is now to find a way out of the predicament. We've got to be more proactive. It makes two of us. Can I apply for it? Are you sure? Liv really offers to do that, but Lucia smiles and is not surprised at all. You can't wait to get it done, right? Yes. Waiting and mourning can't change anything. I've been thinking, Liv, you're really a strong girl. Like those who keep to themselves. You care about what you and other people feel. Even if it's overwhelming for you sometimes, you can get over it and pull yourself together very soon. Lucia, go and do what you want to do. Lee and I will give you our full support when your application is approved. The three of us will go for our test together. This new weapon will definitely play an important role in claiming Earth. If we can find a solution, we can help everybody out of this misery. Sure. In Conservation Area 46, Liv tends to all the patients in need of treatment as usual. Since the leader of the armed refugees was informed of the story of Cosetta, she stops complaining about matters. When all of her patients got their treatment, Liv takes Cosetta, who is in a swaddle, to the crucible of Commander Thod. She changes Cosetta's nappy and fills her some nutritional powder onto the baby before asleep. Liv puts Cosetta in the makeshift cradle next to the commander's bed. She gets up and carefully checks the commander while pressing the comms button. She thinks it will take a while before somebody answers, but she hears a familiar voice immediately. Hello, Liv. Zelika, there's something I want to ask you. Is there a follow-up test of that weapon we tested earlier? What's the plan? I want to apply for further tests. What happened? You look so much more determined than before. Nothing happened. I just want to do what I can do to get us out of the predicament. If there was a mission that would get us out of this predicament, but would most likely pay the highest price, would you do it? The highest price? If you mean the safety of Lucia, Lee, and Commander, I certainly wouldn't do it. No. It's about your own safety. My safety? That's right. Although Scylla keeps emphasizing if, she doesn't look like it's just a hypothesis. Liv used to feel powerless. Sadness and regret cannot change anything, so she decides to move on no matter what. But at the same time, she's also aware of the fact so many people died right in front of me and I couldn't do nothing to help. Now everybody, the task force and the humans are trapped in this catastrophe. And no one will be spared, including the elite squads. It's just a matter of time before the catastrophe kills us all. Why not do something that promises to make a difference? I'd love to give it a go. Zelika, I don't want to see anyone die anymore. Actually, about this, the president hasn't decided whether to give you the call or not. Are you alone now? Verily, There only commanded me and this little baby here. Baby? Ah, is it a refugee show? Is the mother dead? Yes. Todd is still in a coma. Yes. The signal is off for a moment before Zucker's face reappears on the terminal. I'll transfer you to the Parliament Hall. Please keep your environment quiet. Alright. Noticing the seriousness in Celica's expression, Liv turns back to make sure Kurzite is sleeping before nodding to Celica. Celica's face blurs out of the dark blue screen. Alright. This will be a holographic. BBN 08 Liv Ray Raven Task Force. On behalf of the Babylonian Parliament, I send an invitation to you. The cold, mechanical female voice. Oh yeah, it's just stop. The cold, mechanical female voice echoes in the darkness. It is uttered by nobody, yet it can be anybody. In the war against the punishing virus, humans have never won a true victory. According to the calculation of Gestal, no one will survive this catastrophe if effective measures are not taken. The outbreak of this catastrophe in the Polyphorus Park ruins, the Science Council has already made a preliminary reaction of the technology recorded in the Omega file. We managed to retrieve and analyze the test data of the Omega prototype through the contact of the Grey Raven with the unidentified twins. The weapon's effectiveness in absorbing the punishing virus has been confirmed. With its help, the infected Manchoid and constructs can recover too. Even the corrupted? Due to the technical constraints, it's not yet possible to achieve all the research objectives at this stage. BPN-08, we need you to support this technology and put the Omega weapon into use as soon as possible. What do you want me to do? Become a carrier for the Omega weapon. Carrier. Use the latest specialized frame and its properties to attract the punishing virus, allowing the virus to pass through your mind and be completely absorbed by the Omega weapon. Through my mind. That's the only way to maximize the effect of the Omega weapon. This is a dangerous task because we cannot control the rate of retraction of the virus. Once it exceeds the rate of absorption in the Omega weapon, you will get infected completely. In addition to that, there's also a high risk that your frame won't be able to reboot again or use recall due to symptoms such as mind deviation and contamination. But in order to reclaim Earth and go back to our common home, we must do whatever it takes to overcome the predicament. BPN-08, humanity needs you. Will the punishing virus really be cleared and infected individuals recovered? This will be our first attempt at this technology. At this stage, there remains a lot of uncertainties. BBN-08, we need a pioneer. Fine. Fine. Someone has to take the first step. BBN-08, does that mean you agreed to our invitation? Yes. Please confirm that you can't quit the mission once you take it. Confirm. Please confirm that you are aware of the dangers of this mission. At the end of the experiment, your chance of survival was only 7.223%. Confirm. She didn't even hesitate. Even I imagine Gistal was probably like, it's only 7%. BPN-08, on behalf of the Babylonian Parliament and humanity, I thank you for your service. Please tell me what to do next. The hall is solemn and silent. A middle-aged man with erect prose gets up and stands in front of the table. Liv. Take Commander's Vault back to Babylonia. After this talk, I send out a notice to all constructs stranded on the ground to explain the situation. After I get their consent, you'll be escorted by them. There is an undestroyed underground base in City 47, where some transports and airships are stored, along the last of our supplies. They're all we've got now. I'll let you open the base. We will talk about what to do next when you return safely. Hold on. Hold on, I have one more request. Please let me take a baby with me. While Liv is speaking to Babylonia, the constructs that had been transferred from City 4 are talking to the constructs that had survived the Omega prototype delivery mission. Seeing Lucy and Lee walk into the lounge, one of the constructs jumps from his chair. So, you guys finished your work now? To her surprise, Lucia sees a familiar face from the initial annihilation of the hetero hive mother among the four surviving constructs. When we got out of the transport, we didn't have time to say hi to Captain Lucia and the other members of Raven. Exactly. Hello, I'm Percy. I met with Lucia and Captain Chrome in C75 before. I've heard Lucia mention you guys. It must be Captain Percy. You gave located to Commandant, right? That's right. How are your injuries? We're all fine. My people are now taking a break inside the cabin. Want to check on them? Not now. Let me take a good rest. Why did she come down in the first place? We volunteered. Too many people have died. The strong have important work to do. The rest have their own concerns. At least we volunteers are not forced to come here. Besides, Captain said we are blessed to have survived the accident last time, so we need to make good use of our luck, right? And, it's the truth. We survived again. I'll tell you a little secret, Cap. Captain's the only one who has survived all these missions, so he... Hey? Well, strong people usually have problems like that. Come on. Got your back here. Raina lets out a loud laugh while patting Percy's back. His cheerful love is so reassuring and relaxing for these weary and battle-hardened fighters. During this brief breaths are the terminals of all constructs start to beep. As Liv leaves dimly lit cubicle, she knows that all the constructs are watching their terminals. The familiar voice of the president comes on the screen, wrapping this short speech. I had no idea that Omega weapon could be incorporated into a frame. Such a specialized frame would be a serious burden on one's mind, just like Chrome's glory. There's no misfortune information in the Palm's announcement. Just told Liv and only Liv the worst case scenario. And the stream just fucking died. Don't die on me. Alright. Well, actually, they told me they had the plan because I volunteered to do the test. President Hansen is very concerned about the commandant's condition, and he would like to take the commandant to Babylonia for thorough treatment, as long as I can go back and take the commandant with me. I see. The commandant does need to go back to Babylonia. It's just that. Liv, are you sure you can do it? Specialized dreams are nothing new to us, but with Commander still in a coma, I'm a bit worried about you. Lucia? Lucia looks horribly worried, which makes Liv a bit anxious too. Well, I mean, Lucia would be concerned since she essentially lost all of her memories. And even though she's got the memories of both Alpha, or both of herselves, she's not still completely whole. Her memories of the past was just foreign to her. She became a new person. But we finally have a chance to reverse the catastrophe. Liv tries to show not too much affection. If Lucia and Lee knew the consequences of this submission, they would have done all they could to stop her. It really bothers me. I need to go with you. Lucia looks at Lee, who nods without saying a word. Alright, for us go together then. Great. Captain, we're going back. This is a voluntary escort mission, not a return mission. We may die on the way. I'm aware of that, but I'm sure we'll make it. I want to be an escort too, even though we're very likely to be killed. Still, this is the only way to return to Babylonia. Besides, without Liv, I would have been killed already. That goes for me too. Everyone in this room is alive thanks to Liv. Alright, then. Who's going to? Everyone in the room raises their hands. Thank you. Don't have to thank us, Sandra is interrupted by a beep from her terminal. Sandra. Are you still with Great Raven? Yes. Both of them are Sandra's teammates and are in charge of different areas during the mission. They've been keeping in touch through comms. How's it going? All 7 of us are going to check over there. How many of you are leaving? We're all going too. Looks like there are going to be a lot of people. Why aren't you all joining the mission? It's not really about the mission. Do you know if that underground base in 47 was left behind by Corono? There remains a lot of supplies as well as transports. I don't know why they suddenly figured it out and decided to give the Parliament permission. The Parliament now wants to use the supplies in that base for disaster relief. That's why so many people are going to City 47. And we can take this opportunity to go back to Babylonia. It's now or never. I agree. Since you're going too, we'll meet up in the underground base in City 47, alright? Yes, see you there. She cuts off the call. Hold on, guys. I really appreciate it, but we promised the people here to protect them. If we all leave, who's going to take care of them? I see your point, but the hedgehog creature barrage is coming. I can't do detection. I'm no match for those creatures. I still have the manual on taking care of the wounded you wrote for me, so I can work as a nurse here, but if anything dangerous is attacking this place, I won't be able to help. That's right. So, what should we do now? Shall we stay? Lucia double checks the action plan if she wants to protect everybody, but the best option is for her lead to stay. But a strange feeling comes to her mind if she was neglected by something very important. Lucia frowns. Last time she felt this way was when she was on her way to be captured sent by order of Ravage. Is this just a coincidence? Lucia, what's wrong? I have a bad feeling about this. Lucia? Does overworrying mean distrust? Liv calls Lucia in a pleading tone. Lucia relents. Sorry, I was overreacting. Alright, let's make a plan. The President said there were plenty of supplies in the base, so I'm sure everybody wants to get their hands on them. We're pretty close to the underground base and we have plenty of time to do round trips, so just we take everyone there in different groups. Okay, sounds good. The underground base is going to be bustling. I know. The supplies are scarce these days, people will be flocking there. I'll take their leader about the base. Okay. It's not going to be a dangerous trip, but we need escorts just to be on the safe side. I'll stay for now. 2 vehicles can't hold everybody, so I guess we have to make a few more trips. I'll stay here with you, Ray. Okay. Let's hit the road. A raven rides in the entrance to the underground base of City 47 at midday. After leaving the commander in the sleeping pod, they are waiting for a while before a large influx of people comes from different directions. Liv opens the base warehouse and hounded the spies inside into the eager crowds. Days of hunger and finally quelled for the time being. Everybody seems to be in a better mood. In the evening, even refugees had been relocated to 44 arrive in their cars. All after an exchange of pleasantries, they go back with supplies. Somebody shows up as the moon rises. Shrek. I don't know the name. Hey, we meet again. He talks to the Grey Raven and learns that the wounded in Conservation 055 have been treated by a forsaken doctor and everything is fine. In order not to deplete the supplies there, Shrek decided to get some supplies on the ground base at 47. As he hangs around, Matches the border collie spots him and follows his motorbike to forsaken space. Alright, Matches being taken care of by Shrek. As Jordan breaks, it's time to embark on the journey. The constructs from different squads get together in groups as ordered by the interim captain for a final confirmation and roll call in front of the airship. I'm sure you all know from President's message, the battle on our way back to Babylonia will be a tough one. This is a voluntary mission. I don't care why you risk your lives to be part of it. I just want you to understand one thing. Getting rid of the Punji virus is the only way out for humanity. This is a difficult as well as noble battle. This is life-changing moment for us all. So we must win. There's half an hour to go before departure. Say goodbye to your friends and get ready for a journey ahead. And then we'll win back the future of humanity and Earth. Roger. Liv, I haven't seen that look on your face for a long time. Huh? You think I have a poker face? That's not what I meant, but you always look like you were forcing yourself to smile. And while your facial expressions look natural, your shoulders were always tense. Maybe it's because it's a relief to finally see some hope. Matches Stanley, Fantine, Cassetta, whoever the people, animals, or constructs. Hope they're all safe and sound. Because you're weak doesn't mean you're useless? Eh? Is that what Commander said? That's right. I remember the second half since it was take a few parts of it out of you if you don't understand that. Right? Remembering the past is hard to laugh. Yes, I had just joined Grey Raven at the time. There was a very confident constructor who snapped at a teammate, another support constructor who couldn't kill the enemy as quickly as he did on the mission. Most people couldn't be bothered with things like that, none of the other commanders stepped in. Yes. I still remember the commandant said, just because a single cog can't stand up to the enemy doesn't mean it should be left behind. I totally agree. Whether it's human or animal or even an insect or bacterium, just because they see me doesn't mean they should be dismissed. They're all unique and irreplaceable in their own positions. It's the diversity of lives on Earth that gives us hope. That's why I'm so delighted to be involved in this research and hope it'll make a difference. Lucia, you need to take care of the people here after I leave, but remember, you and Lee must take care of yourselves first. The smile is gone. She speaks very slowly. I will, I promise you. Liv nods and turns to look at the stairs before her. Those who are going with her are waiting here. Let's hit the road, Liv. Come on. Are you ready? Alright, I'm off. Have a safe trip. Liv boards the airship of Corsetta and Commander Svod. This seemingly long journey is only the beginning of hope, a pining for both Liv and the other surviving humans. No matter how much she wants to stay, she has to go. Alright, now here comes the combat. I forgot this was a combat mission. They ravaged the entire world. Damn, that must be so many satellites to have a ring around Earth. That must be so much. Necroids. It's been a while since we had one of these missions. And now this reminds me of Nier. I've been playing Nier Automata, so I'm beginning to recognize the similarities between PGR and Nier, since people who made PGR are fans. Captain Oki from Mountain Vulture. I will be the temporary commander of this escort mission. Hi Oki, this is Liv from Grey Raven. We've already confirmed the safety of our commandant and the protection target. Great. Full speed ahead. Hopper. The future of humanity depends on this mission. We need to transport the target back to Babylonia at all costs. For the future of Earth, we swear to stick to the mission and fear no sacrifice. Stick to the mission, fear no sacrifice. Everyone, please be safe. Hello? Can you hear me? I have to mention something. Hopper carries a propulsion field recently developed to deal with flying enemies, but Hopper is not capable of keeping it running for a long time, so you have to stay connected to keep it running. Understood? And you are? I'm Kina. I used to work on the maintenance of Hopper. We will see each other again once you come back alive again. Is she a technician with Corona? I've never seen someone being so picky while using my stuff. How adorable. Alright, just remember to stay connected with Hopper and keep the shield powered. The shield will help you defend against the enemies. If it issues an identification friend or foe, that will detect the enemies and clear them out of itself. Now, Liv is in Hopper. Please turn on the shield and activate the power control channel. Roger. Turning on shield, confirm. Activating channel, confirm. Establishing power connection, 3, 2, 1, connected. Flashing virus reaction detected. Multiple units are approaching fast. We'll take care of the escort mission. You are support construct. Stay in Hopper to scout enemies for us. Understood. I'll share detection signals to everyone to adjust the formation accordingly. Red orb signifies attack formations. The blue orb signifies blue defense formations. The yellow orb signifies speed formations. All out. Defensive. Well, that was fucking quick. everyone is fucking dead. This is... What the fuck is this? Well, I'm playing the best character in the game, so this will be easy. Alright, so every time the oh, okay. It's better to say. Actually, I want them in defensive. Want them close to me, so they would not be damaged. And you will come our way. I don't know where you come from. Everyone shall live. Oh. Dare you to be more? Okay, there should be more on the other side now. No, no. God damn it. That just got my units killed. Defensive formation is the best. It bloody homes! A fucking projectile at homes! Oppo is slightly damaged, but Kapanoki is got no time for breeze. Let's prepare for the next battle. Yeah. I feel like I could do that better. Was it? The airship and transport squadron never disappearing into the sky. Beneath the fiery red clothes, a girl was walking alone in the wilderness, enveloped by a giant black shadow. The high concentration of the Punisher virus in this area was deterred even the best equipped constructs, but does it affect the girl at all? It took me a lot of effort for me to become what I am now. I really want everybody to see this. I have more important things to do right now. Mecha Babushka. Mega Babushka. What a name. Give me the coordinates. What will you do? We will not change this catastrophe. This is none of me? I will do it even if it's in vain. I don't want humanity on this before creation is to perish. It's definitely none of me. The girl doesn't look so carefree as she usually does. Instead, she's firm and serious. I will help them, realizing their wishes. In exchange, they'll help me too. She feels a pang of nostalgia as she looks up into the sky and waves goodbye to her home beyond the clouds. Goodbye. Don't forget Nanami. Yeah, it was definitely a Nanami. So she calls just on Mecha Babushka. There we go. Countdown. Symbol again. Well, with the next stream, I'm definitely gonna be continuing it. We're continuing with the story. Since we're only halfway there, we still got a long way to go. Anyway, I have been totally not a Miku, and I hope you enjoyed this stream, even though it's been very nonsensical structure. But nevertheless, see you all in the future.